So, okay, I saw this last week, and I blew it off because I did a little digging, and it was legislation that was first proposed in like June or July. I remember it was a J month, the middle of last summer.
Wait a minute.
Of 20.
Now I have to challenge you. In your head, it's stored the month began with J. I don't know which month, but I just know it began with a J.
And it's down there at the bottom of the circular calendar.
Your brain works weird.
It was a J, and I was like, And in the verbiage of the bill, it says it starts off relates to the manufacture and sale of smartphones on and after January 1st, 2016. That are capable of being decrypted and unlocked by the manufacturer or its operating system provider. And I thought, well, okay, that deadline got passed.
Yeah.
So I just thought, and it didn't make it into last week's conversation. But someone else tweeted to me that it had been resubmitted.
Oh, Lord.
And indeed, it has been. Now, I've heard of Walter Mosley and Patricia Fahey. They're both, honest to goodness politicians. And so this is New York state legislation proposing a ban on the sale of encrypted smartphones. Now, when you dig into this deeper, this is actually, it would be a ban on the sale of smartphones that the manufacturer cannot encrypt upon receiving a court order.
Decrypt.
Exactly,
decrypt.
Which the manufacturer cannot decrypt upon receiving a court order requiring them to do so. So this is one of the thrusts of, one of the potential thrusts of legislation. I did hear that there was some entourage from Washington that went to Silicon Valley recently, and that they were rebuffed. And that was just some talking head that said that, and I haven't had a chance to figure out what that was about.
You've been rebuffed.
Yeah, sorry, but we're not interested in talking to you.
I could talk to you.
You guys are idiots. We've already said no.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, of course, if that passed in New York State, well, that would be the end of it because that's a big market.
Yes.
So it's not only insulting to the people of New York, it's insulting to everybody else in the country and the world. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and again, this is, to me, a really fascinating contest that we're in the middle of and will doubtless be looking at this year and next year to see how this shakes out, because as we've talked about it before, the whole problem of what right do people have in the U.S. under our Constitution, where we have this whole issue of protection from unlawful search and seizure, yet a legal right for a search warrant to then breach that under certain terms and conditions. Is that the way it's going to fall out? And wow, it's going to be really interesting to see. Meanwhile, in sort of a related story, I thought this was interesting. Up in Canada, in Toronto, a woman's husband, a woman's elderly husband died, taking with him in his head the Apple user ID for the iPad that they shared. He had a Mac that he used exclusively, but they shared an iPad. And she had a card game on it that she liked. And she knew what the unlock code was for the iPad. So she was able to unlock it, get past the lock screen, and play cards until something happened that required her to use her Apple ID. Maybe it, needed to be updated or renewed or who knows what. And she couldn't make any headway with Apple. So she asked her daughter to see what, the daughter could do, who as the daughter said from her story, after many phone calls and 2 months of what her daughter describes as her runaround, daughter was named Donna, provided Apple with the serial numbers for all the items, her father's will that left everything to his wife, Peggy, and a notarized death certificate. Then was told it wasn't enough. Donna said, I finally got someone who said, you need a court order. And she says, I was just completely flummoxed. What do you mean a court order? She said, I said that was ridiculous because we've been able to transfer the title of the house. We've been able to transfer the car, all these other things, just using a notarized death certificate and the will. To which a Toronto-based estate attorney noted that there are not currently any clear law about this, and that Apple is asking for a court order as a means of protecting themselves against any repercussions from disclosing this information. So, this of course follows on our discussion last week of, the LastPass security of assigning people, the whatever they call it now, the emergency access.
Yeah,
exactly. So again, what we're seeing is more and more of the internet is going into our devices. We're becoming, and that's requiring more security, yet security requires that people know passwords. And, and here's an instance where it wasn't known, and my first thought was, well, just, reset, your pad and create a new account. And of course, the answer, it was covered in the article, is like, well, then she'd have to rebuy all of the things that, she and her husband had purchased over time. So it's like, okay, well, no good solution.
What would you do with Squirrel?
Actually, Squirrel, she and her husband would both share their Squirrel password.
Right.
And so she would be able to authenticate herself.
But he neglected to share his password with her. That's the problem, right? He didn't share his Apple ID with her.
Correct. So yeah, right. It is not, that at that level, it doesn't offer any solution. We still have that problem.
Right.
Yeah. Although Squirrel does have the rescue code specifically for this purpose. And so that would typically be, that's the kind of thing you would have in your will or in a safety deposit box or something, because that is all your ultimate get out of jail card if you forget your password. It is for password recovery.
Right.
And so that's built into the system.
And if you put that in LastPass, in your emergency contact, the problem is it's not so much people who listen to this show are going to have this problem. It's going to be everybody else. Right.
Well, and as we know, LastPass does have the ability to pre-assign a one-time password, a one-time password or passcode that you're then able to sequester somewhere and only get it when you need to.